episode of Iconic Women hosted by Sefarat. However, it's quite a special episode as our guest is a very special person who's joining us online from her hometown, London. Once upon a time, there was a special lady who was well known as the Princess of Hearts. Not only is she a princess, but also she has settled in the hearts of all the world because of her unconventional approach and empathy to charity work, where she focused on children and youth. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are hosting Her Majesty Princess Diana. Princess, it's a great honor to have you with us in our program today.
Oh, hello, Vesma. My pleasure.
People want to know more about Diana Spencer.
Well, first off, I was born on July 1st, 1961, in North England. I was fourth of 5 children. I was homeschooled. I showed a talent as an accomplished painter. I also excelled in swimming, diving, and I studied ballet and tap dance.
Your Majesty's role in community service is priceless. Can you tell us more about it?
I made public appearances at hospitals, schools, and other facilities. In the 20th century model of royal patronage, from the mid-1980s, I became increasingly associated with numerous charities. I carried out 191 official engagements in 1988 and 397 in 1991. I developed an intense interest in serious illness and health-related matters outside the purview of traditional royal involvement, including AIDS and leprosy, in recognition of my effect as a philanthropist. As Stephen Lee, director of the UK Institute of Charity fundraising manager, my charity is probably more significant than any other person's in the 20th century. My extensive charity work also included campaigning for animal protection and fighting against the use of landmines. I was the patroness of charities and organizations who worked with the homeless, youth, drug addicts, and the elderly.
Speaking of public appearances, you made many significant ones with Prince Charles.
Actually, yes, we made many appearances together around the world, almost annually. In 1985, we visited Italy. We also visited the U.S. to meet President Ronald Reagan and First Lady Nancy Reagan. At the White House in 1986, we toured Japan, Indonesia, Spain, and Canada.
Busy life, isn't it? I noticed these appearances were only to European or North American or Asian countries. Have you ever been to the Middle East?
Of course, dear, I've been to the Middle East. In November 1986, I went on a 6-day tour to the Arab Gulf states, including Oman, Qatar, Bahrain, and Saudi Arabia, where I met King Fahd and Sultan Qaboos. I've also been to Kuwait, UAE, and Africa. We visited Africa in 1990, where we toured Nigeria and Cameroon. Definitely I've visited a beautiful country, Egypt, and I went to the British Council School for the Blind and other charities. I also went on sightseeing tour. Later I visited the Al-Azhar Mosque.
You also met President Nelson Mandela in your visit to South Africa in 1997. This is memorable.
Yes, this one of the most important meetings because it was when President Mandela announced that Nelson Mandela's Children Fund would be teaming up with my fund to help people with AIDS, and we planned this combination of the two charities.
Your Majesty, your works were not only about diseases, were they?
I was the patron of HALO Trust, an organization that removes landmines left behind the wall. My picture touring an Anglian minefield in a helmet was seen worldwide. I believe that my efforts resulted in raising international awareness about landmines and the subsequent sufferings caused by them. My work on landmines issue has been described as influential in the signing of Ottawa Treaty, which created an international ban on the use of anti-personnel landmines.
I saw the photograph where you were shaking hands with AIDS-positive patients in 1987 with no gloves. What was the message you were trying to deliver?
Well, I challenged the notion that AIDS was passed from person to person by touch, you see. I was always trying to highlight my affection and compassion for people living with the disease.
I believe you had the same idea with leprosy.
You see, I visited hospitals in India, Nepal, and Zimbabwe, and by spending time with patients, I dispelled one of the myths surrounding the illness that it can be passed on by touch. It has always been my concern to touch people with leprosy, trying to show in a simple action that they are not reviled nor are we repulsed.
Your Highness, you also considered children who suffered cancer in your efforts.
I loved comforting these children and made personal connections with many actually. I made the trips at least 3 times a week and spend up to 4 hours of time with patients holding their hands and talking to them. Some of them will live and some will die, but they all need to be loved while they are here. I try to be there for them.
Princess, your influence all around the world cannot all be gathered in one interview. We need like a dozen to talk about the reasons why you are known as Princess of Hearts. But on the personal level, how was Diana the mother different from Princess Diana, if I may ask?
I always made sure to give my sons during the infancy wider experience than was usual for royal children. I rarely deferred to the royal family, not even the father. I was often intransigent and obstinate when it came to William and Harry. I selected the schools and clothing, planned the outing, and took them to school myself. They were my very initial priority. I even organized my public duties around their timetables.
Such a devoted mother and a timeless princess. No doubt you are a role model to all mothers around the world. Your Majesty, Princess Diana, it's such a pleasure and an honor to have accepted our invitation, hoping it's not the last time. Our school thanks you a lot.
Oh, Besma, pleasure and honor are all mine. Next time, you'll be hosted by me. Thank you so much.
That will be wonderful. Thank you, Princess. Ladies and gentlemen, dear students, this was our interview for today with the Princess of Wales. Hope you enjoyed it and see you next time with a new guest in our program, Iconic Women, hosted by Sefarat.